Hello, and welcome back to the Vibrant Voice Podcast. I am your host, Amber Rose West. Thank you so much for joining me today. So typically, I work with wellness instructors who want to beef up their self-confidence. We work on developing their confident speaking voice so that they can take on more opportunities. Those opportunities can look like teaching more classes, presenting at events, or speaking at summits and retreats. But honestly, today's episode can support any woman or person who struggles with living in the past and developing their vibrant speaking voice as who they are today. So if you're the kind of person who daydreams about the years past, who you were back then, what you look like, maybe beating yourself up in the present for not being that girl that you used to be, this episode is for you. And I've sent it to you wrapped with a lot of love and compassion because I hope you'll stick around and listen to it. Sometimes we need a little bit of a reminder and maybe even a little permission slip that we are who we are right now for a reason. There is greatness in being evolved. There is a reason that you experience growth. Living in the past disconnects us from our ability to really be right here, right now in the present. But it also drags our ability to grow farther and wider in our future. Success is waiting for you out there in your future, but it can be stagnant or dragging along if you're living too much mentally and emotionally in the past. My goal is to help you develop your vibrant voice, your confident speaking voice as the person that you are today, right here and right now, by helping you embrace your present self. So first and foremost, I just kind of want to talk on what it looks like to be stuck on that past version of yourself. Have you found yourself saying, I want to be who I used to be 5 years ago. I want to be who I was 10 years ago, right? You may have heard yourself say this in reference to your body. I used to get this a lot when I was a health and wellness coach, people coming to me and saying, I wish I had the body I had when I was 21. I wish I could just go back to the body I had, 5 years ago. If I could just get those 5 years back. You may have heard yourself saying these things to yourself around the hats that you now have to wear, right? I want to go back to before I was a mom and I had all this time, right? I could do self-care before I was a mom, right? Or I've heard a lot of when I was just a student and before I became an adult and had all these responsibilities. Back when I was a student, I did X, Y, and Z, and I want to go back to that, right? You may have other people in your life who are putting this message into your brain and making you feel like they want you to go back to a previous version of yourself because they miss that version of you. They miss that person right now compared to who you are right now. People say that you've changed, but they like to say it in a negative way, right? Sometimes when you're talking to people that haven't done any of their own growing or evolving, your growth is a reflection of their lack of growth, right? So they try to make you feel bad for changing or evolving. And once we begin to feel those feelings of not feeling the best about the person that we've grown into or the person that we've evolved into, we go back into saying, well, I just wish that I could be that person again, right? Really, rather than embracing who it is that we are today for all the amazingness that we are today. Growth and evolution are so beautiful, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. Humans are meant to evolve. We are not meant to stay the same our entire lives. But society likes to make women feel bad about growing, aging, especially aging, evolving into who we want to be as adults. So that there's that natural part of the process that comes with aging and growing, and they keep trying to get us to see it as a bad thing. They keep trying to get us to go back to being this younger version of ourselves, right? Because they say that that's better for us. But growth and evolution, again, are so beautiful. And being grown is gorgeous. One of my favorite things to say is, I'm a grown-ass woman. I am. And I take a lot of pride in that because, well, first and foremost, there's a lot of people that don't grow up to be grown, right? There's a lot of people that don't get the opportunity to experience the growth and evolution of adulthood and into their lives. So it's a gift. It's a gift that we are able to grow into these older versions of ourselves. But most importantly, we have to remember that society has built us into this idea of thinking that we are not as attractive as we get older, right? There's programming, there's the media messaging, there's all the anti-aging beauty industry, blah, 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 right? And so we get stuck in this idea that who we were before, who we were when we were younger, who we were pre who we are now, it doesn't matter. You could put XYZ label on it, but we tend to think that it's better. But who you are right now is amazing. You could not be the person that you are today without those past experiences. But to say that you want to go back and live at that as that person prior to who you are now is really doing a disservice to the confidence of you right here, right now, the uniqueness and the gorgeousness of you right here, right now. So now that we know grown is gorgeous, I want to ask you, what do you do to love on yourself right now? It's really easy to get caught in those spirals from the past, those thought processes of the past, the pictures, the videos of the past, right? But you're here right now. And we have you here right now, right? And so I want to know how it is that you're taking the time to love on the person that you are right now. That love and that compassion for the person you have right now is really where you begin to develop your self-confidence. And I shared on my social media a couple of weeks ago a message that I actually figured out for myself years ago, but it took me a long time to come to the point where I understood the importance of the message itself. After years of studying self-confidence and being in I was in a toxic positivity community. And so I had a lot of people who were telling me that the only thing I needed to do to create confidence or happiness or joy or success in my life was just look at everything as positive. Look at everything out there as through a positive lens with positive wording, and that if I just continued to do that, I would create this confident version of myself that could accomplish anything in the world that she wanted to, right? But what was happening at the same time is I was battling my own fears of success. I was battling my own fears of failure. I was battling my own issues with body dysmorphia. I was talking down to myself. I had a lot of insecurities. And I never bothered to take a look at any of those things. Instead, I was just trying to shower myself with all this positivity and all this positive messaging, hoping that one day it would seep so deep in that I didn't feel any of the other things anymore, which is not really how that works, right? And so what I realized was while I was trying to shower myself with positivity, none of these messages were sticking because I was simultaneously spending so much time hating on myself, talking down to myself. My negative self-talk was being run by my inner critics. I was talking badly about my body. I wasn't treating myself well. I wasn't loving myself genuinely, right? I was spending too much time hating on myself. And so none of those confident messages could actually stick, right? So I being a part of that toxic positivity community where I wasn't allowed to say things like stop, and I wasn't allowed to say things like hate, because those are negative messaging that wouldn't allow the self-love and the confidence to really grow. But the way that I see it is that I had to stop hating on myself all the time. And I had to verbally tell myself, hey, Amber Rose, you got to stop hating on yourself. I would say something mean to myself and I was like, why are you hating on yourself right now, right? And the reason that we actually have to insert this concept of stopping the hating on ourselves before we can really ignite the loving on our confident self is because if you try to build love and confidence on top of a layer of like negative self-talk and hatred towards yourself, it's a weak foundation. You can't build any of that. None of that's going to stick. It's going to wobble right over. The second something happens to you that ignites your insecurities, boom, all that self-love and compassion is out the door already, okay? So I'm asking you simultaneously, what do you do to love on yourself? While also asking you, where is it that you can stop hating on yourself? Where in your life can you stop speaking so poorly to yourself? Where is it that you can stop being so judgmental of yourself? Where is it that you can stop your inner critics from overrunning your self-talk and say, hey, inner critics, we're not doing that right now. Why are you doing that, right? And really understanding these components of how the self-confidence and loving on yourself can't stick unless you make the time to address the insecurities that you got going on here, okay? So going back to understanding that evolution is inevitable, right? You are going to change, you're going to grow, you are not meant to stay the same person all throughout your life, right? And that being grown is beautiful. Can you look at what's happening in your life right now and say, I'm spending too much time hating on myself in these 5 ways, and I want to spend more time loving on myself in these 5 ways? And just know that you cannot create confidence, whether that's in yourself, your voice, your mindset, your self-talk, if it's also simultaneously beating you up, right? Acknowledge the hate, stop the hate, and then also acknowledge the beauty and start to absorb that self-love and that self-confidence. So I will also want to ask you on top of that, how do you speak to yourself as the person that you are today, right? Self-talk is the foundation, it's the root, it's the zenith, it's the center point of everything that you think about yourself, everything that you say about yourself, whether that's internally or externally. So how do you speak up as yourself? How do you speak to yourself? How do you speak up as yourself, as the person that you are today? Confidently speaking is a part of growing up. Confidently speaking, for some of us, wasn't this liberty that we always had, right? As women, as Black women, as women of color, we have been the first in every room to be silenced, okay? I read and I watch a lot of documentaries about the enslaved people of the US over the last 400 years, still continuing to go on today, but it educates me of our history, what we endured, how we overcame it, and it also reminds me of our progress, how lucky I am to be given a chance to speak using my own voice, using the brain that I have developed at this age as Amber Rose West, and being able to say, I have thoughts, I have feelings, I have opinions, I have innovations, I have ideas, I want to make moves, and my voice is going to be the catalyst that brings all of that forward so that I can share it with other people. There's this unique expression that you have as a human being, and you being able to uniquely express yourself with your vibrant voice is your birthright. It's one that we've had stripped from us before, but we have more opportunities to use it now. You have the opportunity to use your voice to get to where it is you want to go in life. Your voice is one of your most powerful tools. And sometimes people don't believe me. I'm like, public speaking and sharing your message through public speaking is one of the most powerful tools that we have, even as human beings, right? Oration was one of the first tools that we used to share, to keep ourselves safe, to share our histories, right? To learn from one another and grow with one another as early human beings. I want you to think about what you can do with your voice now moving forward. And I had an amazing conversation with one of my friends this week where we were talking about this feeling like we have to go back and fix stuff, right? Like we wasted time, or, we didn't know how to confidently use our voices to ask for what we wanted, to go after our dreams, right? We feel like, well, I'm here now, but I want to go back and fix the other things and make the other things better to better set myself up for success. But one of the most beautiful realizations that my friend had is that she doesn't have to go back to do anything. She can start right here. Right now. You can make the decision right now to develop your confident speaking voice and to use it to get to wherever you want to be in the future. It's going to get you to where you want to be now and in the future, not where you've already been. Okay? Why would you let the you of yesteryear speak for you or think for you, right? Or draw you back into the past when you're here right now. You have today. Yesterday is gone. It's gone. It's done. You cannot go back. You cannot change it. But what you can change is what's happening right here, right? Today and tomorrow. It's all still ahead of you, and you can be present and you can develop your voice in the present. Speak for yourself today. Speak for the you that you want to be today and the you that you want to be tomorrow and moving forward. And that includes what it is that you share and teach. For my instructors out there, I know that you're listening, what it is that you're sharing and teaching right now, right? How can you elevate your education and share it right now? How can you make the decision to take more opportunities to teach more classes right now, right? You don't have to worry about the classes that you didn't teach last year. You get to worry about the classes you're going to teach this year, right? You don't need to worry about all of the events that you didn't speak at in the past. You get to think about all the events that you have moving forward ahead of you that you can speak at. And that's where your power and your confident voice lies. The past has a lot of great lessons. I'm not trying to minimalize how our past narratives impact who we are today. Episode 37 of the podcast with Siobhan was really an important understanding of how we can use our past narratives to support us moving forward. We don't have to ignore them. We don't have to regret them. We don't have to do any of that, right? There's a lot of great lessons in our past. You've learned a lot. And now you're going to take what you're learning, you're going to guide others, and you're going to teach others. You can pull from your past, you can pull from the learnings of those lessons, and you can give them to others. But your mindset, what you think, and what comes out of your mouth is more powerful when it's here and now, when it's relevant to the people that you're speaking to and teaching right now, when it's supporting who you are as an instructor, a teacher, and a coach right now. Don't allow the past to have that chokehold on you. Okay, this wishing that you were a person from 5 years ago, wishing you had the body of a person from 10 years ago, wishing you had these things in the past. That's putting you in a chokehold, right? Thinking like you did in the past, speaking like you did in the past, leaves you stuck in the past. But babe, your future is so bright. I've seen so many people fully embrace who they are in the here and now, to love themselves in the here and now, to progress and grow from the point that they're at right now. And they just are so much more fulfilled and happy than this idea of living in the ghost of the past, right? Your future is so bright. It's as bright as you make it, right? There are too many people out here who are waiting to learn from you. There are way too many people out here who want to hear your messages of evolution and growth, of healing and happiness, of triumph and victory. And they're waiting for you to come out and use that vibrant voice to tell them those things, to teach them those things, to help guide them on their path the way that you were guided on your path, and now you are ready to teach other people how to take that path. You can create a confident speaking voice that guides your future, not one that echoes your past. And this was something that I wrote in my journal this last month. Really thinking about the echoes of the past and what they sound like in your head. They're just echoes. They're empty echoes, right? So you can create a confident speaking voice that guides your future, your bright and shiny future, not the one that echoes your past, okay? So confidently speaking is a mini course that I have drawn up, and I actually decided that I wanted to teach it as a live workshop. It's going to be a condensed version of the mini course, but the Confidently Speaking workshop is going to be held on Tuesday, May 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I want to give you a little bit of background about me and why it is that I'm so passionate about talking about confidence and public speaking, and why workshops and mini courses like Confidently Speaking are things that are going to be in my library for you. So a little bit of background on me. I am a certified confidence coach who studied public speaking for many years, and I hold a degree in public speaking. So my mission is to help women and wellness educators, teachers, and coaches develop their confident speaking voice so that they can share their services with more people and expand their business opportunities. Public speaking is one of the greatest ways to reach more people, to share your knowledge, to show your expertise, and to offer your services to more people. And one of the things that I absolutely love about the internet is that our speaking opportunities are not just in person, on the stage, at summits or conferences anymore. We have a real opportunity to make our teachings and offerings more accessible to more people using these online platforms that we have. So Confidently Speaking yes, it can be events and conferences, but it's also about if you want to start a YouTube channel, you want to teach your own classes, you want to have your own podcast, right? You want to create more content for social media, but you're afraid to get on camera or you're afraid to talk to people. You want to be a guest on other people's show and you're afraid of speaking with other people or answering questions, right? All of that is public speaking. So the Confidently Speaking workshop is a combination of growing your confidence as a speaker while also giving you actionable advice and guidance on enhancing and growing your speaking skills, the tangible speaking skills. So Confidently Speaking in the workshop, we're going to focus on these 5 things. First and foremost, how you as an individual can develop authentic confidence in the present and for the future. We talked a little bit about it today, but during the workshop, we're going to talk about how this applies to you. You know, when I asked you the question of what are the 5 things you can do to stop hating on yourself and what are the 5 things you can do to start loving on yourself more, right? During the workshop, we'll actually get to talk about those things together. The second thing we're going to cover is managing confidence crushers. Now, the 4 most common confidence crushers for high-achieving women and people in leadership roles are inner critics, imposter syndrome, comparison, and perfectionism. So in the mini course, I actually talk way more in depth about all 4 of them during the workshop that's happening on the 16th. I'm going to ask the audience that comes to the workshop which one they want to talk about the most, and we'll pick one of them and do a little bit of a deeper dive while we're all in the workshop together. The third one is where and how to use public speaking. Like I mentioned, public speaking is a highly effective skill, and you may be wondering how it is that you use it to accomplish your individual goals. I got you. I'm going to walk you through how it is that you can do that. The 4th part of the workshop is going to be talking about your voice, your audience, and your presentation. And now these are all of the important bits of you actually speaking. When you finally get the opportunity to speak, whether that's teaching or presenting or speaking at summits or retreats, once you get those opportunities, the actual intricacies of speaking, right? Using your voice, picking your topic, talking to your audience, how do you create stage presence? That's going to be a part of the workshop as well. And then last but not least, we're going to be confidently speaking, right? How do you put your confidence, which you'll be creating, with your speaking skills together, and you learn to represent yourself and your business offerings through these public speaking opportunities. And again, the public speaking opportunities that we're going to be talking about are not just those in-person, on stage, in a room full of people, public speaking opportunities. We're going to be talking about the small groups, the classes, how it is that you can run your own workshops, whether or not it is you want to start your own YouTube channel, your own podcast, you want to be a guest on other people's shows, right? All of these different speaking opportunities are absolutely at your fingertips as a small business owner, as someone who's out here attempting to help other people, guide other people to their happiness and their healing. And so these 5 things are what we're going to cover in the workshop. So if you are someone who is currently attempting to figure out how it is you can use public speaking, how it is that you can help others by being more visible and more accessible with the different speaking opportunities that we have, I would love to see you in the workshop. Again, it's going to be Tuesday, May 16th at 7 p.m. It'll be held online. So as long as you have your access to the interwebs, you can join us, okay? Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Vibrant Voice Podcast. I'm Amber Rose West. Really appreciate you being here today. I will be back in 2 weeks with a fresh episode of the podcast. So don't forget to sign up for the workshop. I will put a link to that in the show notes of this show. And until then, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.